Welcome to the new IT. Welcome to the new IT today. Brad in the house. What's going on?
Feeling a little festive there or what?
Festive.
That was kind of a long, happy intro.
Was it a long? I'm trying really hard. I actually got a little bit of a cold, so I'm what do you call it when you do more than you should?
Yeah. Well, you definitely brought the enthusiasm. That's a good thing.
Yeah, so,
anyways,
what's going on today, Brad? What's happening in there?
So I'm actually really, really excited for today's episode. We have Hillel, and he's from Sirius XM/Pandora Radio. He's here to talk to us a little bit. We just want to kind of get his take and understand kind of what it is they're looking for and his take on whole IT and where he sees it going. So I'm really excited. So, Hillel, would you like to maybe introduce yourself and maybe give us a little bit of background on you?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Bobby, for having me on the show. I definitely was excited to talk to both of you. I've been in tech for over 20 years. I'm a Bay Area native, and I'm working in San Francisco now. I came here for music, and then when the whole first wave of the .com started to kind of swell, I jumped on board. And first as a UI developer, most of my career has been in UI, as a senior UI engineer. And then later as a tech lead, and then I went got into management. And so I am currently a senior engineering manager at Pandora. And I manage a team that works on the tools that enables artists and programmers to create listening experiences on the Pandora platform. So
awesome.
Thanks a lot for having me on. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pleasure is ours.
Absolutely.
I'm flabbergasted. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, I don't think we've had anybody that can hit so many genres with music and people's emotions on the show. So this is awesome.
It is.
Right on.
And I want to jump right into the first question just because this question usually is interesting, but I think for this particular space and where you're at, even more so, because the question we usually first ask is, how are your company using technology to be a disruptor in the industry? And Pandora was a disruptor.
Absolutely.
From the beginning. That's years right. ago. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were at the forefront of disrupting the music industry. So I'm like, geez, how do we ask this question about that? And I want to put that twist on it. Where do you think with Pandora, once a company gets to a certain size and it's like, it's almost made its mark, what do you do now? And I'm just curious, right. How do you feel is that company that you're working for, how are you still being relevant as a disruptor? I'm just curious.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I love that you did harken back to when Pandora first got started and how they made their mark in the kind of the streaming industry. The Music Genome Project was something that's been at the core of Pandora's offering from the beginning, and it is a very sophisticated system to evaluate music. And what I feel like, in the very beginning, they were using mostly human analysis for that.
Really?
And then later, it was really actually people that spent, 15, probably more like 30 to an hour on each song trying to kind of analyze the different aspects of it. Yeah. So very labor intensive. And then later, as there were advances with machine learning, we brought machine learning into it. And so we call it machine listening, because it's a blend of machine learning and artificial intelligence that's applied to music. And, that's where Pandora, I feel like, brings a lot of value. But you raised a good question, where's it going? There's other competitors, as you know, and we can mention them, or we don't have to. But
I was going to say some that we don't have to mention.
Well, and I would still say, we all use all kinds of platforms for everything.
Right.
But I still say Pandora, they do it better than anybody else when it comes to, I put a song out there and I want you to give me something I want to listen to. That's a pretty challenging thing. I think still to this day, Pandora does that better than anybody else, in my opinion.
100%.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great to hear from you too. And I of course I'm biased. I work here and I have my heart's in it. But I agree. I mean, I have used several of the other leading platforms, and Pandora has this system where they examine up to 450 or more unique attributes of a song, and they do that along with the kind of blend of machine learning and music analysis. And it's iterative. It's not just like a one-time deal. Like this stuff kind of like it learns and it kind of becomes more accurate, So when I've listened to, a song that I start off listening to and then I create a station from it, I am very impressed with the kind of relevant material that is recommended to me. So it's great to hear that you've had similar.
I mean, I've been an avid Pandora listener since like probably mid 2000s, and nobody compares to like when I have a song in mind that I want to play, I want relevant songs related to that, and nobody can do it better.
Yeah, I remember somebody introducing me to it. I want to say 2004, 2005. When did Pandora? And I was just like, what the heck? This is crazy. And I was just I put everything. I put country in. I put Kiss. I put I put everything. I tried everything, and what it came up with, I was just dumbfounded and excited. And I still truly am to the technology that has to be put in there. And I think it's it's commendable that Pandora stayed with that. Everybody else pivots and they turn and they move and they try and find the new thing and the cool thing, but you guys just seem to get better. I don't know. I guess we're just a bunch of fanboys and I'm but
a little bit.
Hey, it's cool. It's cool, and you are a disruptor, and it's a beautiful thing.
Right on. Well, and it really is just great to get the feedback, because I feel like I get similar comments from friends, but you don't know sometimes if it's biased or not. And just to kind of like touch on the second part, I think, of your question, which was like, where's it going? I guess the honest answer is I'm not sure, but I think there's two things that come to mind right away, which is, one is we got to get better at what we do, and there's a real kind of growth mindset at the company. I think it's one of the attractive qualities working there. And I think, like why I would suggest other engineers to consider coming to Pandora, early engineers, early career people that are in college, there's intern programs. So check it out. But, and it's all very kind of available on the site, very easy to navigate to. I was going to say that I feel like, that's one of the things. It's just getting better at what we do. But the other thing is, who knows, maybe there's this live music component that might be enhanced more. And I feel like we're seeing a little bit of that, with the pandemic. There was more kind of, I think, energy put in that direction. So I wonder if that kind of thing will be more, if there'll be more energy put into that.
That makes total sense. Looking at TikTok and Instagram, and I have found myself on TikTok watching somebody live for like an hour and a half because they're just such a talent, an amazing, talented person. And I'm like, geez, why are you not, selling millions of albums? But I could see where that would be a space where you could branch out and connect. That makes total sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So cool. Oh, go ahead.
No, go
Brad,
ahead.
You got something? Sorry, this is exciting. I'm
It's
into it
very
now,
exciting.
man. I'm on fire now. I want to ask.
Cool.
So what would you say right now? I mean, you kind of talked about machine learning, and we talk about AI all the time now because it's just a part of the new IT, right? Where would you say is the most innovative thing right now that you're a part of?
Oh, that I'm a part of directly. Well, one of the things that we're trying to do is work with our, and I have to be kind of careful here talking about some of this technology, but
We won't tell anybody, I promise.
Yeah, we won't tell anybody.
That's good. I think it's one of the things that's exciting is trying to get new music out as quickly as possible, and I think we're enhancing our systems to be able to kind of evaluate rights for music, and do that very quickly, so that when as soon as an artist adds music to our platform, it'll be available for listeners. And there's always complications with certain labels, and that's not an easy
I can't
puzzle
imagine.
to unwind. Yeah.
Jeez.
You can imagine like all the licensing
Right.
issues
Yeah, that's
come
just,
up. So that's something I think is actually really exciting, because that'll help us kind of in our effort to just bring more and more music to people, and also more and more creative music, not just the big labels like Taylor Swift, which is really important, but other kind of more.
Well, yeah, I mean, you
independent.
still have your indie bands or people that are
Exactly.
just coming up that maybe want to put out an album. So yeah, it's important that we take care of them as well.
yeah, I gotta ask, how does that work? So I'm a new artist, and I have I'm assuming there's a genre of music, right?
That's right.
How does it know that I'm this new artist and I'm putting it out, and it's like, oh, you are just like this, this, and this, and if I like this, this, and this, you're gonna like this new artist. How in the hell do you guys do that? How do you figure that out? That just sounds insanely
Complicated.
crazy complicated.
Right. No, exactly. Because I mean, you both know how varied music is, and even in a genre like punk, for example. I mean, there's so many different types of punk music, right? Straight edge, and I could go on, but like, so that is part of the music genome project and the system. I think is really that kind of very sophisticated analysis of music. And it's not just that, it's the blend of the human analysis with the machine learning. So I think that and I have to be honest that my understanding of that system is I have a limit to my understanding, but I do feel like this is one of the things that we bring to the table, is this very detailed kind of mapping of music to genres, and then being able to use this system that learns constantly to evaluate new music that's coming in constantly. And so I think that it just kind of feeds itself, but there's always corrections that need to be made, and that's why I think the blend of the system of the AI plus the human interaction is what really kind of, I think, strengthens our offering compared to others.
Absolutely, I agree.
100%.
And I think that's a good segue into the next question. So who takes care of your technology? Obviously, I mean, I know you mentioned that you like to have like interns and you have lots of opportunities that route, but is it just an internal team? I mean, are you guys really adamant about that? Let's unpack that a little bit more.
Yeah, good question, because it's been different. I've been an engineering manager at different companies, and everyone does it a little bit differently, right?
Right.
At Pandora Sirius XM, there's a blend of full-time employees and contractors. But I do know that there seems to be a push toward more kind of subject matter experts in-house. That said, we have a fair amount of contractors right now that are working with us across the different, the different teams, like the automotive teams and the Pandora Sirius XM team. So, yeah. So I think it's a blend of that. We do have our own internal recruiting, so we rely on our own internal recruiting to bring in new talent. But yeah, it's there is a kind of I would say a trend toward hiring more in-house.
Okay, that's cool. So why would somebody want to work for Pandora, I guess, is the bigger question. I mean, I have thousands of questions on this, so I'll try to limit myself here. But I mean, help me understand what's attractive to somebody that's a software engineer. Why should they come to Pandora? What makes you guys stand out? And what makes it, a fun place to work?
Yeah, I love the question. I mean, you often hear it's the people, and it really is the people at Pandora. I worked at a lot of different companies. If you look at my LinkedIn resume, you'll see I have been around the block a little bit, and so I have opinions, and I don't think I've ever worked for the perfect company, but Pandora has a great kind of company culture that I think really started from that, from the startup that it was, and it's really held on to that. And we are, we were purchased by Sirius XM a few years ago, but there's still that real sense of Pandora, kind of company culture and pride, and blending two companies, and it's been more than that. There's been some acquisitions, but you know, blending company cultures together is no easy task. I was at Adobe a year and a half after they purchased Macromedia. Not easy. And I think, like, Pandora and the SiriusXM company cultures are blending, and we're in the process of doing that right now. But it's a process, and I think that, like, that's one of the, but to highlight the company culture, I feel like the people are really, really collaborative. They're very friendly. I feel like I've gotten a lot of support here, working, and it's been largely remote. I am able to go into the Oakland office and the San Francisco office, but much of my work is done remotely. And I've received great support from across the different teams. And so I really feel strongly that the people here really make the culture. And it's been a wonderful experience to be here. I've almost been here, I think it's like 9 months now. So
awesome.
The other thing, yeah, thank you. It's been a good run. And the other thing I would say is that the technology is so fascinating. I mean, we've talked about the Music Genome Project, and that is in itself interesting. But the different systems that go into making this whole thing work, the Pandora app, is just fascinating, very sophisticated. There's a lot of moving parts. Music ingestion, rights evaluations, playback. I haven't even touched on a fraction of the systems that go into making up the app, but it is, I've worked in e-commerce quite a bit in my career, and it's just so refreshing to come to a place that is not e-commerce. E-commerce is interesting, but this is different, and I feel
better, different.
Yeah, and then of course you're working with music. So, I mean, that is just,
that's fun. Always a fun thing to be around. Yeah. So that's awesome. 2-part question here. And hopefully this kind of segues us into another topic. But so what does the hiring process look like? I mean, how many interviews, what do you look for in candidates, and how many interviews do they have to go through to get on with Pandora? And then having said that, like, what's your ideal candidate? And then let's dive into potentially, if you can, what is your tech stack like? What sort of skill set should these candidates have, what are you looking for in them?
Yeah. Okay, good questions. Just to start with your first point, it is, we have internal recruiting here, and so they handle all of our our candidate pipeline, and the process, we try to make it as streamlined as possible. Usually, for example, for an engineer's interview, they will go through a tech evaluation, a behavioral kind of evaluation, like collaboration and working with teams and that kind of thing. And there will be like a system design portion. And then usually there's a take-home test that we will then kind of go over with the candidate. So that's another section. So 4 or 5 sections usually, and then we have a pretty good read on the candidate. Okay. So it's not too laborious, but we it is fairly comprehensive in just our evaluation.
So do you think that speeds up your hiring process? I mean, do you have to go through extra interviews, or do you think because of those tests that you do beforehand, you get a good read on who you're hoping to hire?
Yeah, I mean, and those tests will vary depending on level. Like it'll definitely be a more kind of intense test for a staff engineer, but yeah, I think that gives us a good idea, because we get a chance to kind of look at their code, talk through their code later when they've had a chance to work on it on their own, and then go through some kind of more a deeper dive into their understanding of tech in the system design segment. So I feel like there's usually a pretty good read. We're pretty confident that we have a good grasp on, who this person is as an engineer and if they'd be a good fit for the role.
Okay. So like I said, after those, I mean, is it usually like one interview, two interviews, or how does that work?
It's usually over 2 to 3 days, I would say. We
Okay.
try to break it up, so we're not like having them
Back
usually
to
2
back.
days,
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And one interview, two interviews, a group interview?
Usually it's 4 or 5 different segments, and you have usually 2 interviews. There's one person that's leading it, and you'd have a chef.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if you can, like I said, but I mean, what sort of tech stack do you guys work in? I mean, is that something you can divulge, or if not, I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I have to keep certain things general. I will say that like we have a hybrid cloud solution right now, without going into in detail, but it is a hybrid cloud solution. We have some, we have it's largely a Java shop.
Okay.
For our tools that we use.
There we go. We got it out of him.
Right.
We got it out of him right there. No,
It's still very high level, but yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. We use front end technologies. There's a couple that we use, React and Angular, but it depends on the surface. It actually depends on the part of the application, whether it's listener facing. But those are our kind of main tools.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, which is kind of what I assumed. I mean, front end's only, I mean, you don't have much choice there, but everything else back end. Good to know you're a Java shop.
That's cool. That's super cool. This is really cool to me.
It is. I love it.
It's like I'm interviewing a superstar because we're geeks.
Right. Exactly. And not only that, we're music geeks too.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
So-
dude, I love it. This is so much fun, man. Thank you so much, seriously, for being on the show.
Oh,
So-
you're welcome. It's been fun.
How do you think technology? So I'm going to go a little bit more broad and general here. How do you think technology is going to change in the future, and where do you see Pandora kind of fitting in that?
Boy, that is a good question. I used to think that they were going to create tools that would replace front end developers, and I no longer think that way anymore. The front end and the back end have both gotten so sophisticated that you need people to do this work. I think that as we get more and more distributed, and we've been, as engineers, we've been this way for a while, but I think that there's more of a need for engineers to be adept at project management, kind of like using tools to manage their own tasks and code submissions, but also maybe time tracking. I think companies are just, it's tough out there, as we all see. And I think companies are going to be, kind of just more focused on making sure that we're, identifying efficiencies where they're at, where they're had.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, unfortunately, right now, I think we're seeing a bunch of layoffs in the industry. But I mean, I may be a little bit naive in this one, but I believe that the pandemic, everybody was kind of just stir crazy from being at home so long. I think what happened was companies started to see areas of growth because they had to expand, and now you're starting to see that kind of contract because things are kind of getting back to normal. So you're starting to see some of that growth go away.
That's right. Yeah, so, tough to see a lot of the layoffs that have happened, and
all the way around.
Right.
Yeah, with all kinds of big tech.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting, and it's the ebb and flow. It's the part of the world that's probably always going to be, and we just deal with it. And the people that are really good at what they do will have a job.
Exactly. Well, and that's where efficiency is going to come into play, and you're making sure that you're targeting the right thing. So yeah, absolutely, you're spot on, Bobby.
I gotta ask the last. Can
Please,
I ask the last
absolutely.
question?
I want you to.
This is I told Brad, hey, I don't feel well today, so you take over the interview. But I'm excited now, so I need to.
Awesome.
So I gotta ask, how do you feel about the future of technology all over the place? Not just Pandora, but we always like to ask this last question to folks that are in tech, that are seeing it, that are seeing what's going on. What do you see for the future completely all over the place? I know it's a simple question, but what's your crystal ball say?
Yeah, I know. Good question. Let me look into my crystal ball. No, it's a good, one of the things that, was awesome, that is awesome about the internet is is how you can freely get information. And just the amount of growth that it can provide just by being able to use this incredible system to learn more about the different things that you want to learn about. And I guess I'm a little concerned in some ways about some of the censorship that I've seen and on some of the social media platforms. And just I hope that we can keep the internet open and allow people to have the voice that that they have and have it be heard, and within reason. Obviously we don't want negative hate out there, but yeah, I think that as hackers and maybe I'm kind of thinking now about security. We want the internet to be open, but we also have to be careful. So there's a couple things, one is
open and safe.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
open and safe. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Well, and the sad part is, I mean, you can never get rid of the jackals. The jackals are always going to be there. They're just evolving and changing, and so it's up to us to make sure that we're ahead of them.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's
right.
So do you see the future? I mean, I know we have a hope, but and my personal thought process is that it will continue to be this magical space of openness and connection. That's my hope, and that's kind of my thought. I still think we're going to move that way, even when the AI does take over, I think. But is that just naivete, or what do you think? Hillel.
Yeah, I think I that's my hope as well. And I guess I think that it will go in that direction because we there's a hunger for that freedom and creativity, and I think that we will always strive as people that want to be able to express ourselves. We'll strive for that freedom, and there's a lot of power there, So I think that I do feel that is the way it should go, and that it will go. I guess there's a little part of me that's a little just concerned, but yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's my hope.
And creativity goes along with it. I find it fascinating. So many people are kind of in uproar about AI art. And
oh, right.
And AI art has come a long way. It's getting cool. But the funny thing about AI art is there's still somebody putting in information for the AI to come up with stuff. So, I mean, there's still a humanness to all of this still. There's still somebody with the creativity to put something in there that the AI creates. It still can't figure that out. So yeah. I believe, for the human race, I see, maybe I'm just a positive person, but I see the technology hopefully making us better, more creative, more interesting, more engaging, and more open and cool. But hey, what do I know?
As technologists,
I love it.
Aren't we? We're all hopeful.
I will say that, I think that, you made me think that we all need that connection with each other, and so I feel like that is so strong that it's hard to, to kind of keep that down. So I agree with you. I think that, and maybe that's what we're seeing with the kind of advancements, in some of these, like Zoom and Google Meet and everything, being able to kind of communicate more with each other in different locations, kind of bringing us together. So, and we've seen that with social media, right? Like, Facebook and Twitter and so forth, but maybe there's a way for that to become even more intimate, and bring us together even more. So, anyway, I really appreciate your sentiment.
Yeah.
I think to bring that back around to Pandora, I think it connects, humans with artists, and it's
right.
it's doing its job, and to bring us more closely humanized and connected, even with all the machine learning and all the stuff that it's trying to manipulate to figure out. It's connecting us. I enjoy when I hear a song, I'm like, man, I haven't heard that song before, and that's a really cool. I really like it. A thumbs up on that one. I put a thumbs up on that one, and I'm going to hear more of that stuff. That's, in my opinion, that's a better life. That's a better life than I've had in the past.
Awesome.
I mean, even taking it one step further, I mean, I think that what music does for you is it can take you back to memories that you can think of, certain emotions or thoughts that you had when you were growing up, and that is so powerful that to be able to have a part in that by working at a place like Pandora, I think is just awesome.
True.
Right on.
100%.
Yeah. Well, it's neat. Like every day I start the day, and one of the first things I do is I go right to the app and I put on something like, some nice music for the morning, and it just feels like, wow, this is pretty cool to be using this app that, this product that I'm
one of my
on.
Guilty pleasures is in the morning I will put on I've got a Lady Gaga station, and I will dance to Lady Gaga, and man, it comes up with some good stuff to dance to have some fun with. I know it's weird for this 53-year-old dude to be dancing. There's some videos my wife take out and put on Facebook to humiliate me, but whatever. But I love it, dude. I freaking love it. So good. Hillel, thank you so much for being on the show and taking some time with us. Any last words you'd like to share before we go?
I mean, maybe just, if there are any engineers, any people out there that are interested in working at Pandora, if you're a student and you're interested in an intern, go to pandora.com. You'll see links to internships in the footer. And I think they're about to kick off the application process pretty soon. So, just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
That's perfect. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Brad.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Only other question I got, and this is obviously me being facetious, did we earn ourselves a subscription to Pandora?
Let me work on that. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sweet.
Right. Well, Hillel, it was definitely a pleasure. Loved having you on. Loved getting your intake. It's awesome. If everybody doesn't know, please go check out their careers page. Let's get, if you're interested and you're an engineer,
Definitely.
Looks like you have a fantastic team to work with. So, go and apply.
Awesome. All right. You know the drill, people. Thank you for listening to the new IT. We'll see you next time.